As I stepped out of a taxi in old Xiamen, two women with bright hats stood by the door waiting to take my car onwards. They seemed a little out of place in the old streets around the port, but I didn't think much of it at the time. The forecast was for rain, and I had prepared for a wet weekend in what I was told was one of China's most charming cities. Alan, a friend for many years, had enticed me to Xiamen with tales of rolling sandy beaches, winding alleyways and Victorian-era styled architecture, but unfortunately he had moved on and was no longer able to be my guide. So to get some inside information, I posted a question on local websites for recommendations and was met the next morning with 3 replies. Peter, whose profile told me he was an exporter for a local swimwear company, suggested Gulanyu Island and the water park. I figured he may enjoy the water park as an opportunity to show off his latest swimwear, so left it and decided to start on the island. I set off early along with a large group of tourists in orange hats and boarded a ferry for the 5-minute journey across the straits. Gulanyu became part of the Xiamen Treaty Port in 1942 and was officially designated an international settlement in 1903, at one time housing 13 international consulates and its myriad of colonial-styled houses. It's car-free, so a great place to walk, either through its maze of winding side streets or around the coastal paths, stopping for seafood delights in the small restaurants along the way. I did both, first getting lost in the twisty streets that cross the small island, and then taking an afternoon to circumnavigate it on foot. Be warned though, this is an island of extravagant hats, and those without will look wildly out of place. Lulu0417 from the Expat blog recommended the old markets of Datong, Yinping and Kaiyuan roads, and I decided to combine this with profileless John's recommendations of Dashu and Minzu roads before making my way to the central district along Zhongshan Road. This walk alone gives a real insight into the city's diversity as you move from the 1920s-style warehouses in the streets just behind the promenade to alleyway markets and then into European-styled grand houses before emerging into a sea of modern glass skyscrapers towering above the old streets. It's a banquet of bright colours, intriguing sounds and welcoming local merchants. Oh, and make sure you take off that hat you bought in Gulanyu. It will look very much out of place in these areas. To finish my weekend, I decided to hop back on the ferry to watch the sunset over the city from Gulanyu Island. The predicted rain had not arrived, and I enjoyed my last few hours sitting on a harbour wall, watching the night fall on this amiable city.